So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you guys so much. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen and pull up a PowerPoint. If you guys have questions, you can go ahead and ask them during any point of the conversation. My admin, Candace, she will go ahead and collect that information and she'll WhatsApp it over to me. And I'll try to have at least 5, if not 10 minutes of Q&A at the end if you guys need it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me just pull up my PowerPoint here because there's 3 of them at the same time. All right, everyone. Again, thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to be talking about how to fill your virtual workshops, live events that are virtual live events, all of that as things open for us with COVID and everything. Some people are having in-person live events, so this can help for that as well. But this is for this is specifically for virtual workshops. It's just we do a lot of virtual, so this is where our expertise comes in. All of this can be transferred over into marketing for a in-person event, in-person workshop. So just know that this is what we focus on virtual. This can be something that you guys use for in person as well. So if you guys are here, then you want to know how we filled our last workshop, and it was a paid workshop. So thanks for joining me, guys. If you haven't started following me already, go ahead and find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. Those are my 2 favorite platforms. Sometimes you can reach me on social media much better than you can on email. Certainly much better than on text message. I'm not a fan of texting. My thumbs just don't move that way and that fast. So that I don't do, but you can definitely get me on social media. You can just search my name, Danielle Fitzpatrick Clark. I believe I am the only one out there so far on the platforms. So I'll come up. I do have a nice little purple streak in my hair that I don't have this second, but you'll know it's me when you see someone with a nice purple streak in their hair. So you guys are here and like, why should you listen to me? Who is this lady? So just so you guys know a little background information on me, I've built multiple 7-figure businesses from the ground up. I've been a digital marketer implementer for 12 years and a copywriter for 12 years. So digital marketing and understanding the customer journey and the tech pieces that go into play with that is my game. And also copywriting and being able to come up with that marketing copy that really resonates with ideal clients is something that I specialize in as well. So between me and my team, we have run over 300 launches / events over the years in multiple niches. So we've been doing this a while. We really, when we say that we build influence, we really are the so if you guys haven't, go ahead and just mute yourself. I'll make sure that I go in. I'll mute too if I get a second. Okay, cool. So, whoops, went too far. Um, so yes, we've been doing this for a while. We've also made our clients millions of dollars. So we've got some amazing clients. They're multiple 6-figure, 7-figure business owners. And when we work with them, they make even more. So one of the things that we're really great at doing is supporting people who are building online. They're building their businesses online, and we support them through that process. And it ends up making them money. And it's as we all should be making money online, right? We've also been partnering with some up and coming startups that are serving some of these larger corporations in the tech space. So, um, we're not at liberty to release right now which corporations those are. We will soon. But yes, we're working alongside our startups, and they are serving these large corporations in the tech space that service millions and millions of people across the world. So, um, yes, hundreds of millions in some cases. So that's part of what we do. That's part of who we partner with and who we work with. So the big promise for today is I'm going to show you guys this one simple reach out method. So it's a methodology, it's a special framework that we use. We've tested this, we've tweaked it, and this is actually working effectively, and so effectively that we're able to fill workshops, paid workshops, very, very quickly. So if you guys have your own workshops or events or master classes, it doesn't matter if it's a paid one or if it's a free one. This is going to help you guys do that. So that's the big promise, is that you guys are going to understand this framework. I'm going to keep it simple for you. So what I need from you guys is just your undivided attention for the next 30 to 60 minutes. I'll try to keep it under 60 minutes, guys. Um, so if you guys haven't, go ahead and mute, and I'll go in and mute as I need to. Um, but undivided attention for the next 30 to 60 minutes. Guys, take some notes. You're going to see my admin, Candace. She's going to drop some links in the chat for you. For those of you that are catching the replay, no worries. We will have those links for you on the replay page. But take notes. Grab those links. You're going to want them. They're going to support you. You can ask your questions at the end. If you can't wait to the end, I totally understand. I do a lot of workshops where people are like, I don't want to wait to the end because then I'll forget what my question is. So go ahead and ask the question, because I do have Candace in here. She is collecting questions. She will go ahead and WhatsApp them over to me, so I can go ahead and answer those for you at the end. Otherwise, you can wait to the end, and I'll at least do 5 minutes of Q&A, if not 10 minutes of Q&A. So if you're just coming in, please go ahead and mute yourself. So I like to begin my workshops with a quote, and a quote that resonates with what we're going to talk about. So I want to talk about selling, and selling is not a pushy winner takes all macho act. So I'm not going to be teaching you guys any bro marketing. That's not my game. What it is it's an empathy led, process driven, and knowledge and intensive discipline. When we're selling, that's what it is. It's empathy. It's a process, because in the end, people buy from people. So that's the co-founder of Mindtree. That's a great quote. Great quote. And he's right. People do buy from people. So everything that we do with Influence Builder is with that in mind, that people buy from people. So we have had a ton of success, right? We've had obviously a ton of success. Guys, go ahead and mute when you come in. We've seen and done a lot of the right things when it comes to filling events. Because of this, we're able to fill ours and our clients quickly and successfully. So you have to do a lot of things right. That's what people will show up and they want to know more information, is when things are going really well. What people don't know is when they go bad. So this is the part of the experiment that people don't necessarily know. And Influence Builder and me as a CEO, we do a lot of experiments. A lot of I'm like a mad scientist in the digital space. So we've crashed and burned. We've done so many of the wrong things. We've had events that didn't fill. We've had webinars that didn't have a single sign up, and master classes that never saw the light of day because nobody came, right? They were done, they were created, but they weren't even completed because we didn't have anyone in them. So, does a tree make a sound in the woods if no one's there to hear it? In the case of the digital marketing world, it does not. So if there's no one that shows up to your master classes, then nobody gets to experience them. So we've done it, not all of it. We still have a ways to go. There's always going to be something new to do, but we've done a lot. We've done a lot of crash and burn scenarios. So with all of that, with our successes and our failures, here's some of the biggest things that we've seen go wrong. So I'm just going to give you guys like the Cliff Notes version of what goes wrong. One of the things is that people aren't solving a specific problem with the event that they've created. So the event, again, can be a live event, in-person event, webinar, masterclass, all those events. Those are events. So not solving a specific problem. What does that look like? That looks like a title that's really broad. We've seen them. We've seen it. We've done them. I haven't met someone who didn't have a title that was broad, that was trying to serve everybody. So that's one of the things we've seen go wrong. Not understanding what your ideal clients truly need. That's another thing that we've seen wrong. And it's a process, guys. So when I say things that have gone wrong, there's no judgment. If you have been there, if you're there, if you're going to continue being there, there's nothing wrong. This is all an experiment. So I do like to tell everyone that. Not knowing where your ideal clients are looking for your solution. So sometimes we just go out there and we put our solution out there without knowing if we're getting it in front of our ideal clients. So that's another thing that we've seen go wrong. not having a way to funnel them over into a sale. So we could have a wonderful masterclass event, in-person event, or at least get people interested in it, but then we don't have a way to bring them over to a sale. Seems pretty simple, right? Like we just get on a sales call, but sometimes we miss it. Sometimes we get so busy in the doing that we forget to move people over so they can actually purchase. Um, the other thing is not using aligned messaging that attracts in. So using messaging that our ideal clients immediately understand, and then they come into us, they're attracted into us. Um, and then not having a simple, easy to follow system. So I've seen it on both ends. I've seen people overcomplicate it, overdo it, and in the end, they end up burnout. And the little things, that matter, like moving them over to a sales process, doesn't end up happening. The other thing I've seen is that people don't do they don't do nearly enough or nearly enough of the things that will help create sales. So those are some of the things that we've seen go wrong. Okay, should be good. Okay. So what's the biggest no-no? Just overcomplicating and overthinking the marketing. Like really, if I was to sum it up, guys, we just overcomplicate it. We overthink it. And what that will do is that some people will take the action of overcomplicating it and doing too much, and some people will get stuck in inaction because it's too much, it's overwhelming. We've overcomplicated and overthought it, so we won't do anything. So that's one of the things that we've seen that keeps people, it either keeps them stuck or it keeps them on the hamster wheel. So, which makes sense. It does make sense. All of this does. We're busy trying to do all the things in the online space, and when we do that, it's easy to forget that our solution is often what we had a pain point in once. Like it's really easy to forget where we were even 2 steps ago and how we were feeling and what we needed. Um, it's easy to forget our experience goes beyond just our education. So what we actually experience, what we go through, it's more than what we're educated in, and that tends to be something that's extremely valuable. Our way through our experiences is valuable. So that's the third thing. What is personal is often universal. So we forget that what we're going through, a lot of people go through in some form. And 90% of entrepreneurs, they create a solution to what they needed. So their ideal clients are where they were. They're where they were 5 steps ago. So that's what we forget. We forget what it was like to be stuck. We forget what it was like to be stuck in that very moment that we created a solution for. So instead, focus on what you know. Your events don't have to include everything. You don't have to throw in the kitchen sink with this one, guys. Your ideal clients want a simple solution they can implement. This goes for events, live events, in-person events. You don't have to create a whole 3-day event around all these different topics. I've done that. I've done that. And what happens is that people get overwhelmed. What you do want to do, you want to create an event that gets them to a specific outcome and something that they can implement. It's more powerful to give them a lot of repetitive or what you may feel is repetitive so that they get it, so that they have their aha moments and that they can move forward than it is to give them too much. So this is what we did, guys. So the event that you guys came in on um, was because we had created a workshop that we sold. We sold it and we sold it fast. We got 100 people in, and we didn't do it with ads, and we did no email marketing besides like 2 emails. And most of our people came in through the process that I'm showing you. I will say 90% of them came in. So we know that we've hit something really amazing. Plus, our clients are doing this too, and it's working phenomenal for them. So we created a 5-day workshop all around LinkedIn. That's what we did. And the reason why we started doing it around LinkedIn is that, we use LinkedIn. We help people with LinkedIn. Some of our clients, they come specifically to us to help them disrupt their niche on LinkedIn. That's what they come to us for. So when we did this workshop, guys, go ahead and mute. So I know we've got somebody who's not muted. So when we went ahead and did that, we did it because there was a big pain point. There was a big challenge around some of the new changes on LinkedIn. So the pain point came around LinkedIn because they had recently made changes that are very, very challenging for people who are trying to build out their LinkedIn. So what is that? So LinkedIn, in the last few weeks, they went from allowing people to connect with 100 people during any given day, and then when 10% of those people that others were connecting with accepted the connections, they were allowed to send out another 100 connection requests. So what LinkedIn has done instead, so you were actually able to send out, anywhere from 100 to 500 connection requests per day. LinkedIn just a few weeks ago stopped all that, and they're only allowing 100 connection requests per week for anyone on LinkedIn. Doesn't matter. So what that's done is people who are looking to build their LinkedIn who haven't already, who need to get in front of their ideal clients, or ideal clients are on LinkedIn, they're not able to do it the same way that they were able to do it even a year ago. So that's the big challenge. That's the one that came in, and we have solutions. We went back to the drawing board because we had to create solutions anyway for our one-on-one clients. So what we did is that we created a 5-day workshop, knowing that a lot of people were going to have the same issue, or knowing that a lot of people who know their ideal clients are on LinkedIn were going to have this issue. They had no idea how to even facilitate that. So it was a big, big challenge that we had the answer to. We had a solution. We had several solutions for them. So our ideal clients, we are actively seeking this help. So some of them were freaking out on LinkedIn, like, what am I supposed to do now? Some of them were seeking help on Facebook, and some of them were seeking help on Instagram. So we had 3 platforms where they were actively seeking help, and it wasn't just they were asking for help, and we saw it. So we pulled together some simple messaging and invited them to join. That's what we did. Simple messaging. We put a price tag on the workshop as it was solving a big challenge. We got 100 people in 7 days by social selling via DMs. That's how we did it, guys. We socially sold to them via DMs. That's direct messages. On Facebook, it's the messaging. On LinkedIn, it's a direct messaging. Instagram is the same thing. So we found these guys, we knew where they were looking for solutions, and we showed up and we messaged them, we private messaged them. Most of these people were cold prospects. So that's the other thing that I tell everyone. I'm like, listen, you can actually bring in cold prospects and turn them into buying clients. You can do it very, very quickly. You can do it in a matter of minutes when you are when you're approaching the conversation this way. When you're approaching it, like, you have a challenge. You raise your hand. You raise your hand. You have a challenge, and I have a solution. If you're interested, I'm happy to give you the link. So that's summarizing, but that's pretty much what we did. So how did we fill this? Right? How did we fill this in 7 days? We focused on a framework and a single reach out method. That's it. We just focus on our framework and our single reach out method. We just did that, and that was through the DM. So here's the framework. First, if we were going to look at this from a bird's eye view, we identified the single biggest challenge of our clients. That was LinkedIn. It was a big challenge, and it hit all of a sudden out of nowhere. So we discovered what platforms they were actively seeking the solution on. We found ways for them to self-identify, raise their hand to receive the solution. So even if they weren't actively coming out and saying that they had the challenge, we were finding opportunities for them so that they could raise their hand and they could ask questions. So we did that through LinkedIn, we did that through Facebook, and it was very simple questions like, hey, how many of you guys are on LinkedIn, and what do you guys think of the new rules? Or have you heard of the new rules? Oh my gosh, yes, I've heard of those new rules. It's terrible. I don't know what I'm going to do, was usually the response. So when they weren't actively seeking solutions and beating us to the punch, we created opportunities where they could raise their hand so that we knew that they were feeling it. They were having that challenge. So um, so that's what we did. That was part of what we did. So we went ahead and we created an event page. So saw this challenge. We're like, okay, we need to go ahead and we need to create an event page for them. Just one second, guys. Okay. If you guys are not muted, you need to mute when you come in, please. That's my bad for not making that a given when it comes into Zoom. Okay, so we create an event page. Eventbrite is the easiest, guys. It's set up for this. It's set up for online now since COVID hit last year. Eventbrite has made it really easy for us to create an online event. You can even sell tickets. So online or in person, it doesn't matter. You can actually charge. So Eventbrite is the easiest. There are a couple others, and I'll tell you guys about those as well. Then the next thing is that we created a simple messaging funnel to reach out and move along. So what our messaging funnels look like, and a lot of people, when I say funnels, they're like, oh no, not another funnel. Um, it's different than what you see on online, which is page after page. So this is a messaging funnel. The idea of a funnel is just to move prospects along. So with the messaging, we move them along, and it was usually really simple. So if we reach out to them on this platform, this is what we said. If we reach out to them on this platform, this is what we said. If we reach out to on the third platform, this is what we said. So we would tweak it for every platform because every platform is a little bit different and people respond differently to it. And then we would have our messages, and then we would have our logic. And our logic is like, if they answer this way, then this is the next step. This is the next message. If they answer this way, this is the next message. So we would create a very simple messaging funnel and messaging framework with messaging and logic. So that's what we did. May sound complicated, but it's really, really the best way to do this, guys, is to go ahead and just start messaging and sending out a message with a solution for them. They respond, you give them another message and you make the matrix up as you go along. And then you tweak when needed. Just track all of it. That's all you have to do. That's the best way to do a messaging funnel from my experience is to actually get your hands dirty and go in there and do it and then create the messaging along the way. So, simply put, you guys need to identify a challenge, a big challenge for these guys. Discover your solution seeking platforms. So, your solution seeking platforms are which platforms your ideal clients are showing up for looking for the solution. You need to create opportunities for your ideal clients. So, create opportunities for them to raise their hand and say, yeah, that's my challenge. Set up an event, tighten your messaging, keep your messaging really social. Like if you were going to talk to them in person, that's how you want to write every time. Doesn't matter if it's a sales page, doesn't matter if it's a back and forth DM. You want to write and create messaging that sounds like you're talking to that person. And if that's something you can't do um, quickly, which is really common, then what you can do is have a conversation and audio record yourself and then take that audio and transcribe it. There's a ton of those platforms up there to do it. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, if you're struggling with how to talk to people through direct messaging, the best way is to have a conversation with someone back and forth and just audio record it and then go ahead and upload that and transcribe it with one of the platforms or transcribe it yourself. And then it sounds just like you. It sounds just like what you would be saying in person. And that's how we want our messaging to sound. So identifying the challenge, you want to stay on top of your ideal clients. And the more you think about a solution, the longer it will take to actualize, right? So the more like, oh my gosh, I need to think about this. What is it that they're frustrated with? I'm gonna think, I'm gonna think, I'm gonna think. And then the more we do that, the more we don't allow the solution to come to us or the idea of the solution to come to us. So if that's you, it's not everybody. Some people can just think it and it's like, oh, this is what it is. If that's not you, here's a workaround. Here's a hack. Give yourself a break. Sign up for Google Alerts. All you have to do is go to www.google.com/alerts. You can put in keywords for what you want to search for. So sometimes we actually get in the news feed what's happening in the world, what's challenging in the world. If you put in your keywords, it'll specifically look for that. And then, oops, pops up an article on a challenge and like, huh, I wonder if that's affecting my ideal clients. I bet it is. So you guys can get lots of ideas that way. I highly recommend it. It's not just great for getting ideas on what our clients may be challenged with and what they may be facing. It also will give you guys ideas for content. One of the favorite things that I do with the Google.com alerts is I find out what everybody's talking about So what is it that the news is talking about? What are my competitors talking about, so that I can flip it and disrupt? Because I like to do that. And I learned that when I worked as a freelance writer for magazines, is that we don't want what everybody's talking about. We want what everyone's not talking about. So there's a lot of good reasons to sign up for Google Alerts. The other way you guys can do it, if you're still finding it hard to find that big challenge, you can ask more questions on social media. So find out what challenges your ideal clients is facing and see if you have that solution. So we can ask them, what is it that you guys are facing in this niche? So for LinkedIn, it was like, hey guys, what's coming up for you on LinkedIn? That one challenge that we talked about, that was a big one. The other one is that it's just like, I just don't know how to navigate, and I feel like everyone's just DMing me a sale. So then we have like, oh, we have a solution for that. Here it is. Um, but you want to ask the questions if you can't quite find the answers. So you can just ask more. So platforms for problem solving. So this is the other one. What platform? What do we do? How do we look for these guys? How do we look for our ideal clients? Your clients are looking for solutions to their pain points. Either they're doing it consciously, like they're asking questions, or they're doing it unconsciously, and you need to give them some opportunities. So one way or another, we're always looking for solutions. So find out where they are looking. Even if they're not coming right out and asking, we can set that up. And I'll talk about the opportunities next. So find out how they are being approached. The other thing is like, how are people approaching these guys who are asking for solutions? So sometimes when we see posts, like my company and my admins, we see posts that where someone's asking a question where we have a solution and an answer. Sometimes I won't respond immediately. Sometimes I'll wait to see how everybody else is responding and seeing how that resonates with the person asking the question. Because if somebody answers it and the person that asked said that's exactly what I was looking for, then I'm like, oh, well, then they have a solution. No worries. But if I'm finding that there's a lot of different variations to solutions and I've got a quicker one, then I will present my quicker one. I'll present my quicker, like, hey, this is if you just do A, B, and C, this will really get you to the next step. So you can find out where they're being approached. You can take that approach to answering, to showcasing your expertise. You also may identify how they are not being approached. Like I said, sometimes I'll wait. Sometimes I'll wait so that I can give them a response with a solution that I know works and I know works fast. And then I fill in that gap. So that's a way that you can communicate with these guys on platforms. You just need to look to see who's asking the questions? Where are they asking the questions? Are they in groups? Are they on their timelines? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they actually asking a question? Do I need to create opportunities because I'm not finding anyone asking the question? So that brings us into the next one, which is we want them to raise their hand. We do want them to raise their hand. In some way, they need to raise their hand and say, I have this challenge. Whether we find them asking the questions or we create the opportunity, we still want them to raise their hand before we reach out. So in Facebook groups, look for those who are asking for the support in any given area. Absolutely. The other thing you guys can do is that you can use polls. You can use polls to ask questions so that they can tell you what their pain point is. They can tell you if they're challenged in this area. You can do that on LinkedIn. In fact, I find that LinkedIn polls convert really well, not just with people raising their hand and voting, but also with the follow up. So whenever you do a poll, you always want to follow up with people who answered the poll and say, hey, I saw that you answered this way. I would love to learn more on why you answered this way. So you have to do the follow-up and you have to do a little more digging sometimes. But you can also do polls on Facebook groups. You can ask people questions. Instagram, I like people using their stories with a title on how-tos, like how to do this, how to do that. So if you're still looking for people to raise their hand and say, I have this challenge, some of the ways that you can bring them forward is by saying, this is how you do it. And then asking a simple call to action, like, if this helped, if this supported you, leave me a comment, leave me some love below so I know. And we can do that on any of these social media platforms where they give us the feature of comments and likes and hand raises. So we can do that on all of them. So once you've done that, then you can create an event. So platforms are making it so easy for you now. Eventbrite they completely redid their platform last year. They did it fast. It was a little quirky, but not bad, not bad. I think the developers are pretty strong there. But Eventbrite allows you to create an online event. You can create a free online event. You can also create a paid online event. And then the other great thing about the Eventbrite platform is that when you use keywords, they'll put it out there to their following, and there's a ton of people on Eventbrite. So Eventbrite has really stepped it up for people to do both in-person and online events. They can be free, they can be paid. The other great thing that I like about Eventbrite is that they will allow add-ons. So if you guys are like me, you've got other features that people can purchase alongside an event ticket or a webinar ticket. They can purchase other things. Um, Facebook events has come out with something really cool is that you can actually Facebook has turned their events into something where you can get paid. They take a percentage, of course, just like Eventbrite does. But Eventbrite and Facebook are, I would say they're pretty good competitors for each other. And they actually integrate with each other as well. But Facebook has allowed a third-party processing feature so that you can charge for your events on Facebook. So I really like that they did that as well. It's just a little bit of a setup process beforehand. So you have to go through a couple things. It's pretty much the same thing that Eventbrite makes you do. So that you can do on Facebook. The other thing is that LinkedIn events. So LinkedIn doesn't have the third-party processing like Facebook and Eventbrite does. So that's the downside. However, I really like LinkedIn events, and I teach a lot and train a lot on LinkedIn events because it's becoming really difficult to stand out in the LinkedIn DMs. So when we're DMing people, people are getting a lot of DMs on LinkedIn since COVID hit, a ton of them. In fact, that's why it's a pain point. One of our solutions is to create a LinkedIn event. Now, if it's a paid event, they are going to have to complete registration on another platform. So that part of it kind of stinks. That's not ideal. We don't want people to do too many clicks out of the platform that we are doing the marketing on, because we lose people that way. We always do. There's a percentage that don't go until the end. So LinkedIn events is great. It's a way to stand out in the DMs. It's also a way to connect in a very non-sleazy way with your following by just simply sending them an invitation through the LinkedIn event platform. So the invitation, it comes in much like a connection request does. Most people are getting privy to it. So when they first really started doing LinkedIn events, they've had it for a while, but there was an uptick because of COVID where people were doing events. People weren't used to how it was coming in, and I do hope that they make it more apparent. It's still tough to see, and there's a couple of other workarounds that LinkedIn's done that work really well. Um, but it comes in in the network section of your LinkedIn. So it does look a little bit like a connection request, but most people are starting to understand that it's an invite to an event. So those are some of the platforms that you guys can make to create the event, that you can use to create the event. So your messaging, this is your make or break it. My best advice for you guys on messaging is to treat this as an experiment and receive the feedback, good and bad, right? It's an experiment, so give yourself time and give yourself space to receive any feedback, and just keep telling yourself, I'm just experimenting. There's no right or wrong in this. You got to give yourself a break, because if you don't and you take the feedback, because there's always someone that doesn't like DMs coming in. So if you take that feedback and you internalize it, then you may stop. Some of you guys are just like, whatever, I'm going to toss that aside. I don't care. Some of you guys are like me. When I first started doing this a few years ago, I would take offense. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to help. So that's my best advice, is treat this as an experiment and receive both the good and the bad feedback. And you want both of them. So we want to receive good feedback and just like, hey, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I'm going to sign up. We also want to receive the bad feedback, because then we can look at it from an overview and just like, well, I had 90% good feedback and 10% bad feedback. I'm going to stick with the 90%. If you have, 40% good feedback and 60% bad feedback, then it's time to go back to the drawing board. So what I tell everybody and tell my clients, and like, listen, you really want 30% or less bad feedback with any kind of messaging or campaigning that you're doing. That's You're in the safe zone if you do that. Some people, I don't even like 30%. I like 8% or less. Um, I personally will get 1 to 2%. That's usually what I get. Um, if you get more than that, then it's time to come to come back to the plate and look at your messaging and like, okay, how do I tweak this so this could be better? Or how do I tweak this so that more people are signing up and less people are getting offended? So that's what we do. So here's a quick framework for you. Um, Candace, if you can put this in the chat for them, that would be awesome. And it's, hey, first name, great to be connected. We're both in, or we both know, or we share this in common. So insert that commonality, whatever it is for that person. I see you're interested in, or you can do this, raised your hand for, or you can do this, we're looking for help in. So you guys can use any of those variations as they make sense, and then insert what you know they are interested in. Would you like additional information and support? I've got, and then insert the name of the event or even a lead magnet. Guys, this will work for a lead magnet that leads to an event. So there's a couple different ways that you can test this out. You can send them right to an event, or you can send them to a lead magnet that will eventually lead to an event. So if you guys aren't seeing results with sending them right into an event, so I know some of the people I talked to beforehand, the events that they're putting on are like, they're high ticket events. So a high ticket event, a cold message into a high ticket event doesn't have a really great likelihood of being sold immediately like that. Unless it's a really big pain point. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm signing up. So the workaround for that is to send them into a lead magnet. Give them something smaller. Give them something either free or low ticket to bite on, and then lead them into the event. So you guys can do that. And the ending piece is really simple. If you're sending them an event name or a lead magnet, just say that will help you with A, B, and C. So insert what information it will help them on. So if they have a pain point, then the solution they're looking for will be your A, B, and C. So you guys can use that. That's special for you. Go ahead. For those of you that are watching the replay, we will have this available for you as well. So what else do you guys need to know when it comes to selling into these events? Well, you've got to really understand what an entrepreneurial mindset is. So having the mindset of an entrepreneur right now is a great time to be an entrepreneur. It really is. The industry is blossoming. There is such a need for solutions because we've had so much upheaval, so many different areas, so many different niches. So now's a great time for solutions. So as you grow as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, so will your mindset. The more experience you get, the more you increase your awareness. As your mindset grows, your business will as well. So as you grow, as you get more experiences, as you start looking at the bigger picture, your business is going to start growing. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers. They solve problems. They solve pain points. They solve people's challenges. They're also introspective thinkers. They go within. They go within for their influence, the inner influence, and they're change makers. So they what doesn't work, they support the change of. That's an entrepreneur. That's having an entrepreneurial mindset. It's also another way of being resilient. So we all have the ability to be an entrepreneur. We all have the ability to grow and to be a business owner. What can stand in the way is not being able to step into the mindset piece. So the courageous ones will become the thought leaders of tomorrow. So being an entrepreneur is more than just making a buck. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a process. It doesn't happen for most people overnight. I'm not going to say never, because I have seen people just come out of nowhere overnight. Most of the time, if they're presenting that way at first, they'll come back and say, well, actually, I spent 8 years doing this. So I lovingly refer to this. I have a nice little joke, and it resonates with a lot of people, is that, yeah, I'm a overnight success 10 years in the making, right? So that usually resonates with a lot of people. And it's very true if you've been on this journey for any length of time. So that's how we did it, guys. What usually happens is I usually have people like, okay, I need to talk to you, Danielle. How can I work with you? And so we just give you guys a couple different ways that we can work together. I will go ahead and answer questions if you guys have some at the end. So the next steps is that there's two ways of working with us right now. We did fill out on our implementation and our one-on-ones. So we have two things coming up. We have our Ultimate LinkedIn Leads group program that's launching in just a few days. And then we also have the Digital Disruptors Club. So I'll tell you guys, I'm going to go really quick through this because I need to check the time. And yeah, we've got about 15 minutes. So I'm going to go through these two ways. You guys can reach out, I'm sorry, Candace, if you can go ahead and put the info or the admin at influencebuilder.com email, they can go ahead and reach out to us that way. So the secret ingredient, first we're going to talk about the LinkedIn one. So for you guys that are like, I really need to understand LinkedIn, what makes it different? We've been testing LinkedIn for years. So we've been testing LinkedIn. They have gone through some massive changes this last year, especially these last couple weeks. So everyone has a process or a system or the next best thing. We're taking all of that they've said and improved and even found better alternatives when it comes to LinkedIn. So what people are doing, and it's really interesting because we have a lot of competitors that are trying to come in and see what we're doing because it's working so well. It just works. We've got some secret ingredients. We have some ways of approaching LinkedIn that are working amazing. So what matters is it doesn't matter how large your email list is with LinkedIn. It doesn't matter how large your social media following is. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in business when it comes to LinkedIn. What matters is how you combine your messaging, emotional intelligence, thought leadership, and a process for sales. That's what really matters. So here's what we're teaching for the Ultimate LinkedIn Leads. We're teaching you guys how to do LinkedIn events, messaging, and effective posting. So influencer and thought leadership type posting, daily social selling. So it's not gross and greasy, it's social. Networking and autopilot sales. So we will have some automation because we can't be everywhere at once. Even if we try, it eventually will burn out. So we have some autopilot. A lot of times people don't want the autopilot, and I just say, that's fine. If you have a team member, bring them in. I will train your team member alongside you. So we also teach people how to influence and position. There's ways to influence and position that really help you stand out on LinkedIn. So subtle and oftentimes so missed. Not a lot of people just know how to do that. So we're going to teach you simple ways that are not greasy, that are supportive. Pipelines and funnels. We're going to teach you guys how to do those as well on LinkedIn. So I will give you guys one of my best LinkedIn people. She had an amazing amount of conversions. So she had some connections on LinkedIn. COVID hit and she was in a big bind. So everything that she was planning for the year, she couldn't do. So we had to redo her messaging and her products. And then we created campaigns within LinkedIn. We ran them for 3 days. And she had 100 sales calls within those 3 days, 6 figures in sales. By the end of the month, she had too many sales calls. I think it was 250 something. So she had to move on. She had to move these people over to something. And then she did. We found a workaround, and then she moved them along into her sales process. So 6 figures in sales with that one. There's a couple more, but I'm going to move through these guys. So they use our methodologies and customize to their ideal clients' wants and needs. It's very simple, very powerful. Here's the format. If you guys want more information on this, I'm happy to do that. It's going to be 6 months of mentorship. And it's for seasoned business owners, brand new ones, coaches, consultants, authors, speakers. This works great for, these are who we work with. So there's bonuses as well. If you want more information, you can email us. If you're thinking this sounds great, you can go ahead and apply. Candace is going to go ahead and put the application. So you have to apply to get in. We are starting in a few days. So I'm telling everyone, if this looks really interesting, get on the phone with us, get in our email, go ahead and put in an application. We will respond immediately. So that's the application to get into that. The Digital Disruptors Club, this is something that a lot of people have come to us for. Like they come to us for specifics on how to do digital marketing. So we created a solution. This is not for everybody. This is an exclusive club. So when I say this isn't for everybody, if you're not ready to disrupt your niche, if you're not ready to step into being a leader, this is definitely not for you. And it's okay. Sometimes we have to go through um, other areas of development before we're ready to. If you already feel like you're a leader, if you already feel like you have the potential to be a leader and you're willing to do things differently, in fact, following what everybody else is doing is agonizing to you, then this is something to look at. We call it the Digital Disruptors Club for a reason. So this is 12 months. This is a 12-month membership where you learn how to be a digital disruptor and a thought leader. That's what this is all about. Do you have to stay in for the full 12 months? You don't, because it's a membership. You can leave whenever you want to, but I tell everybody, I'm like, listen, you're going to want to stay for 12 months. With what we have planned, you're going to want to stay for 12 months. It's going to be amazing. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a master training every month along with a success plan to help you implement. The trainings are live, and if there's any implementation needed that isn't covered in the training, because we can only do so much for an hour long, you guys are going to get an extra video alongside the success plan for that month, because I'm an implementer. I don't leave anybody to figure it out on their own. And if I haven't done enough to help you guys implement, then tell me. I will create more videos so that you guys have supplemental material beyond just your success plan and the live training. So we're in the founder's price point right now. It's only $37 a month. It's a really great deal. It's going to go up, but we do want to get our founders in first. So you can do that, and you can also upgrade. You can go for VIP instead. So for our VIPs, if you want more hands-on and also to get access to additional trainings from other industry disruptors, so we're in talks with Facebook ads specialists, Pinterest, how to do events online, how to do events in person. So we've got a few people that we're already lining up for this specific club. And the one thing that I ask is that these guys, I'm like, what are you doing that's different that nobody else is doing? So everything they're doing is different than what you've heard and seen. So you may want to do the VIP if you want to get access to those guys. You're also going to get 2 monthly digital marketing master training. So not just one, but two monthly success plans, access to classes on demand, plus the success plans, additional inner circle group trainings, and free unlimited access to all the influence builder trainings. So the inner circle trainings, they'll either be special inner circle trainings for me or one of the disruptors that I bring in. So this is only $97 per month. It is the founder's price. It is going to go up. So that's something else that you guys can consider. So if this is more of your speed, you better run and get a spot before I close out the Digital Disruptor Club for our founders. So that's the link to that. So those are the two ways you guys can work with us right now if you want to talk more about that. And otherwise, let's go ahead and answer some questions. So hopefully I left you guys, I was hoping to leave 10 minutes. I left 8, so I got pretty close. So if there's any questions, now's a really good time to ask them. Let me see if I got anything. So far, so good, huh? You guys can unmute too, or you can just simply put them in here. But it looks like we're pretty good so far. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes if you want. No questions, guys? Okay. So we will go ahead and create the replay. So if you came in late, don't worry about it. We'll send the replay. We'll also have a page where you guys can get the links to everything so that it makes it easier. You can get this messaging, this little piece of messaging that you guys can implement this framework. And you guys can always email us at admin@influencebuilder.com if you have any questions about what we're doing, how to get into one of our programs, or if something comes up as you're using this information to create your events, we're happy to hear. We're happy to hear and see if there's a solution within one of your pain points that come up as you're creating your event. So if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get done like 7 minutes early. That's pretty good. Wait, I'm just going to check one thing to see if there's any questions. No questions. We're good. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. And we'll see you soon. We'll have more of these. Bye.